Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
We think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty. Welcome to RadioAMB, designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm Patty Schmucker, a licensed cosmetologist who's been in the beauty industry for over 40 years. RadioAMB stands for American Made Beauty, and it's where we tell the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Our sponsor today is AmericanMadeBeauty.com, which is a platform designed to help consumers find beauty companies that are implementing the industry's best practices to bring you quality products and services. Go to AmericanMadeBeauty.com to find beauty products and services that meet a strict set of standards that reflect their American heritage. By the way, go there and keep in touch because we're making changes. And this year you're going to see us transfer into an e-commerce site. So that's AmericanMadeBeauty.com. I hope that you caught our show last week with my guest host, Dean White. He's a talented journalist and a nose for beauty. That's a show you don't want to miss, so go back and listen to it if you weren't with us. Dean stepped in for me while I traveled my first trip to South America. As the guest of Chile, the Department of Commerce for the Chilean government, I was one of 200 speakers, exporters, and buyers to meet with 600 Chilean companies to hear about their brands and explore the opportunity for these products to be brought here to the United States. During our show today, I'll tell you about my journey, cool people I met, and new cultures and traditions I discovered. We'll talk about why American Made Beauty is supporting the expansion of global beauty. During our feature segment, I'll report on how I got involved with the government agency, bringing brands and raw materials into the U.S., and that, to some degree, some people will think as competition. You'll hear how the trip was organized and some of the highlights of the 32 Chilean companies I met. During our segment that we call In the Jar, we'll talk about what makes goods coming from Chile unique and different, my observations of the social culture and this rich international market and what it has to offer around the world. During our segment that we call Soul Deep, I want to talk about my experience with the language during this international adventure and the signals that indicate how people will connect in the future. We'll wrap up with a recap on why traveling internationally and learning more about innovation contributes to global commerce and how this is part of American Made Beauty's reason for being. We'll connect the dots on how we're developing global commerce as a foundation for shared outcomes and values. So with that, let's get started. So I had the opportunity a few years ago to meet some of the principals at what's called Chile. And Chile is the Chilean government's version of our U.S. Department of Commerce. Their specific focus is to help all types of businesses from every type of industry in Chile explore and actually develop commerce outside of the Chilean market. And initially, that contact was made when Chilean companies came into the United States. They would contact me to meet with them and talk a little bit about what was going on here in the U.S. market, to educate them and to help them navigate the U.S. market. This particular event came about in which they have been doing this for a number of years, the Chilean government, where they actually bring buyers into Chile for this event. And it's a speed dating, essentially, kind of event. But it also was a great opportunity to experience the country and some of the unique things about it. I have to tell you, I was just so impressed with the way that this government agency worked and changed on a dime when things didn't exactly work right, and really pulled off what I think myself and many of the other American travelers that went agreed was really a very, very nice event. Let me tell you how it was organized. We essentially came from various different parts of the United States and every corner of the world. I specifically traveled from Los Angeles through Dallas down to Santiago, and when I arrived, there were people right away to meet me, and they sort of gathered all of the Americans, if you will, in one location. That's when I first met Charles Shang of Esprit Group, which is a company that invests in luxury spirits. And also Damon Hernandez and Paul Kim of Samsung. They are out of Mount View, California. And so that little group of us, we arrived in Santiago and met and began to compare notes and talk about the kinds of reasons why we were there and the companies that we were working for, and just had really a delightful exchange on how technology, alcohol, fashion, cosmetics sort of come together. And I'll tie that story back in with Charles and the influence of fashion on luxury spirits. So we were taken to the city. We arrived that afternoon. It was sort of a free day. I was able to throw on some sweats and walk around the city and just be able to experience what Santiago is all about. Discovered that empanadas is a standard fare there, stuffed with all sorts of different things, but always excellent. And fruits and vegetables is to die for. Flavors I've never experienced, and it was just really delightful. And we'll talk a little bit later in the show as to why the fruits and vegetables are so awesome. Sunday morning we left from, I actually flew out and arrived, flew out on Friday, arrived on essentially what was Saturday. Sunday morning we were all gathered together. By this point we have 2 bus loads of people that go from Santiago to Valparaiso, which is a beachside city. Unfortunately, it was pouring rain. And so we didn't really get a chance to see as much of it and to be able to really experience it, but what we were able to see of it was wonderful. There's a strong influence of Germany there, and so lots of mini castles and wonderful different types of cultural layers from all of the various different parts of the world that have come into that region of the world and have left its mark. But because of the rain, the group from Pro Chile had to change on a dime, and where they were planning this amazing outside exotic event, they had to make it all work on an inside event, and it was a spectacular opening event. That evening, they did really a beautiful spread of foods from each of the various different regions of the country, and they are very distinct, and we'll talk a little bit later as to why they are. But there was food that they served from each one of these different regions, and the flavors were once again really quite unique. They also had a fashion show in which they showed some of their local artists. In particular, one that caught my eye was Le Mont Vert. Pauline Escobar was the designer, and I really thought that their things stood out and spoke to me very well. But Charles and I've mentioned to you Charles from Esprit Group, who works with luxury liquors, was indicating to me that fashion really had an influence. It's one of the things that he, as a designer and a proprietor of brands around the luxury spirits, that fashion is one of the things that he looks for being informed about what's happening in looks and packaging and things like that. And after the show, he came over to me and he says, it's the shoes. It was all about the shoes, and I got some inspiration there. Before the end of the show, I'll tell you how we turned that around. So we had a fashion show. It was wonderful. They took us back, and the next day is really when we went to work. The next 2 days, we did speed dating. We were able to meet with a bunch of different companies, and on Tuesday, I had a similar situation as did most of the other buyers, but Tuesday and Wednesday Wednesday it was actually physically going to all of these different locations. My Tuesday started at probably 7:30 in the morning and didn't end until almost 8 o'clock at night, but I loved every moment. Let me tell you about some of the cool companies that I met and some of the things that I thought was most exciting about the various different brands. First of all, I think one of the great ahas is that as I find here in the United States and in Europe when I've gone and met with companies in that part of the world, is that 85% of the companies that want to take their product international have never built their product so that they can. And that was really striking in this market as well. That means that they're not aware of the price of their product and the category of product that they want to bring into the United States. They're not aware of what those items sell for here in the United States. So they're either, in most cases, grossly underpriced and consequently not in a position to really bring their product into the United States, or not really looking at all of the other factors that are critical to being competitive in a market. So my big shout out to all of you who I met while I was there or that are interested in doing any kind of international business. You have to look at the country that you're going to and look at the category that you want to be in and do some competitive analysis, because that's really important. Packaging and all of those other things, of course, play a factor in it, but it all really begins with the pricing. So that was the first sort of great aha, was that these companies really weren't ready for international, and there's just a lot of opportunity that we have to educate people in that area. With regards to products that caught my eye, and I think there is some really wonderful opportunities, well, of course, Chile is the granddaddy, the big gorilla worldwide when it comes to copper. They export more copper throughout the world than any other country, and copper is particularly important because it has medicinal value. It has an anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. In Ayurveda, as many of you know, I'm very schooled in that 5,000-year-old tradition of medicine from India. They would store water in copper vessels because the elements of the metal would infuse within the water and provide a medium to help strengthen the immune system. So copper is a particularly interesting ingredient, and to find it used in cosmetics, which there's one brand of cosmetics that I saw that I'm interested in looking at further, but also into fabric. So Couture is a brand that provided me a variety of different samples in footwear, linens, cloths, all sorts of different types of applications, robes, etc., that I thought was very interesting and something that I'm very excited about looking into more detail about. One of the other companies I met with was a company called Kuroko. And it's a natural skincare that is made with 82.7% secretion of snails. Now, we've seen snail secretion really exploding as an ingredient in different parts of the world. Why? Is primarily because it's anti-aging, and the snail secretions contain allantoin, hyaluronic acid, collagen, elastin, glycolic acids, antioxidants, peptides, and other nutrients that are all chemical compounds that naturally occur in the snail secretion. So it's not the only place that I've seen it, but what was particularly interesting about meeting with this particular brand is that the owner, a 70-plus-year-old woman who doesn't look a day over 50, said to me that one of the things that was different about their product was that they not only did not harm the snails in the process of collecting the excretions, but they also fed the snails French food. And when I asked why it was that what was the benefit of the French food, the answer was that it made them smell better. So I thought that was very interesting. One of the takeaways in our homework here at American Made Beauty is we're now researching all of these claims and looking at, does 82.7% of the snail secretion make a difference in the quality and the performance of the product, and answering some of these other questions about French food and whether it has an effect. But it was a great story. The packaging is awesome. They've done a good job of telling a story, and they are one of the brands that I think have the capacity to be able to go international. One of the other things that I found interesting about the various different offerings is, of course, there were a number of things that were particularly strong because they're indigenous to the Chilean market. And one of them was a company called Numun. Numun. It's a line of fragrances, aromas, there it is, there's my box, fragrances that are native to the Chilean market. And one is called Up, which is a perfume that reminds you of a walk on the forest near the beach in Chile. Because, of course, in that market you do have forests that are right along the ocean edge. And another fragrance called Palo de Pimento. Well, you would think that was the pimento tree, but in fact it's potato sticks is the translation for it. But Cultron, which is a Chilean laurel. So these are all ingredients that are indigenous to the market. The aromas definitely take you there. And I thought that the packaging was really wonderful. The story is done well. It needs some refinement, but certainly another one that caught my attention. This next one caught my attention primarily because it's made with an ingredient that I really question as to whether or not it would have any validity here, not validity, if it would resonate with people here in the United States. It's a product that is facial cream from donkey's milk. And the interesting thing about donkey milk, according to the owner of this company, is that donkey milk is the closest milk to human milk in terms of vitamins and nutrients and its absorption into the body. So another claim we'll be doing some research on to be able to, we'll report back to you on, but I thought that was an interesting product made by a company called Heliderm out of the Chilean market. I also saw seaweed. Again, lots of natural elements from that particular part of the world. Del Mar is the brand, and this particular company makes soaps specifically with seaweed elements. The man who owns this brand is a seaweed farmer. He actually raises and cultivates seaweed, and looking at a variety of different applications as he's seen the product or the seaweed be used in all sorts of different types of pharmaceuticals and cosmetics over the years. He presented to me a really well done soap that is shaped in such a way that it is invigorating to the skin, as well as human-sized tea bags, if you will. They're probably a 5x3 sack that the seaweed is inside of. The instructions are that you would soak this in warm water or hot water and allow for a tea or tincture, if you will, to develop, and then you would apply that or soak in it in the bath water as well. And the advantage is that you would be getting the vitamins and nutrients that are particularly common in the seaweed. So that was something. I haven't yet had an opportunity to try everything, but we're certainly looking at all of these various different things and looking for the right people to try them so that we can get the best evaluation. One of the last companies that I met with while I was there, we actually went physically to their plant, is the company that owns the Chilean market for hair color, both permanent and semi-permanent hair color. The brand is called Illicit, and it is a hair color brand that contains keratin as well. This particular company not only is dominating in the hair color market, very proud proud of the fact that they were successful at being able to knock out many competitors that are successful in other parts of the world. They really dominate the Chilean market in some of the countries around Chile, and they do so in part, I'm assuming, because of the quality of the product, but also they're extremely competitively priced, enough so that I question whether they have the margins to be able to go into other markets. But who needs to if you're in a situation where you're dominating your local market? They were also pretty exciting because they had a whole category around depilatories as well as makeup. They have a brand of makeup that they have been doing for quite a while, and we're in the process of testing in terms of mascaras and lip colors and eye colors and pencils and things like that. And so far, the immediate response is that it's different and it performs really well. So overall, my impression of these various different companies that I worked with, some good, all of them run by people who are passionate about what they're doing, excited about the opportunity to be able to explore going beyond their borders. And it was just really delightful to have an opportunity to work with the professionals that organized the event as well as the companies that I met. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes materials that come from the Chilean market, why are they unique? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com, and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. I'm Patty Schmucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I've just returned from visiting South America. I was invited by the Chilean government to meet a variety of different companies in that market in the cosmetic space, and it was a real honor to be able to be there and to be able to learn about their marketplace. I was also very excited about the fact that I had an opportunity to meet with all sorts of really amazing people from the United States that traveled with me as well. What makes Chile an interesting market with regards to cosmetics is its climate. In a word, it's really its climate. It's located 5,671 miles away from Los Angeles. Just to give you a sense of perspective, New York is 3 hours ahead of Los Angeles in time zone. Santiago and the country of Chile is an hour earlier than that. So 4-hour difference in time zone from where we are here in the western United States, which is where we're broadcasting from today. And as a result of that, the climate is very different. The climate of Chile comprises a wide range of weather conditions across a large geographic scale because it extends across 38 degrees latitude. It's a very long, skinny country on the western coast of the South American continent. For those of you who are not looking at a map. Chile, within its border, hosts at least 7 major climate subtypes, ranging from the low desert in the north to the alpine terrain and glaciers in the east and southeast. It has a humid subtropical in the Easter Islands and oceanic in the south and Mediterranean climate in the central part of Chile. There are 4 seasons in most parts of the country. But it's interesting because it happens because it is South America and the weather is different there. Their summer is actually December through February. I was actually there at the end of their autumn, which runs March to May, and it was chilly. It was definitely cold. I had a warm winter jacket. And then winter is actually June through August, and spring is September to November. So their seasons are opposites of ours. Here in the United States. The most important factors that control the climate of Chile are the Pacific anticyclone and the southern circumpolar low-pressure area, the cold Humboldt current and the Chilean coast range, and the Andes Mountains. So they have these huge variant environments that create climate there. All of this makes the west coast of Peru and northern Chile extremely arid. And they have just the overall semi-permanent high-pressure area that's creating a huge influence on the climate in this part of the world. Despite Chile's narrowness, some interior regions may experience wide temperature ranges, and the cities such as San Pedro del Atacama may even experience a continental climate. An extreme northern and southeastern borders of Chile extend beyond the Andes, and these give these region climate patterns similar to those that are seen in Bolivia and Argentina. So the result is this very diverse environment, and what it does is create agriculture that's extremely diverse. What they're famous for is wines, fruits, and vegetables, and the huge variance with regards to the climate allow for the plants that grow in this market to be hardy. Whatever their natural chemical compositions are, they are heightened so that they have richness. Word I'm looking for. Richness is the best way that I can describe everything that I experience. In particular, I looked at one of my last companies that I met with is a company called. Let me spell it. It's Granja, Granja Aromatics, and their lavender is a lavender that I have never smelled in my life. I have it here, and when I take a whiff of it, it has as an afternote. A sweetness to it that I'm not familiar with experiencing in other parts of the world. They have a basil that has a top note of cherry to it that is very interesting, and a thyme that when you initially experience it, it almost has a pine undernote to it as well. So because of the extreme weathers, because of the closeness and proximity of these various different climate zones, I'm seeing this mix with regards to the agricultural ingredients that are coming from this region, and they've had for years been famous for wines and fruit. Who here hasn't experienced an amazing Chilean wine? It's among my favorite. But now they're experiencing more and more with regards to cosmetics. So essential oils, I saw a lot of that. Rose hips is another ingredient that is very popular there. It's the seeds that come from roses, and they grind them down for a variety of different ingredients. But in particular, I'm excited about experimenting with them with regards to exfoliation, because they are a pulp. It's got a soft edge to it, and that would be an excellent application for use with exfoliation. For consumers, I tell people, stay away as much as possible from nut shells. Walnut shells, things like that. These ingredients don't give the give to the skin. They don't have ability to be flexible, and consequently, I think they can be very harsh on the skin. I saw a lot of products that came from wine, from the grapes. Of course, one of the brands that I looked at was Vino Active, which is an antioxidant cream with polyphenols of the grape, which help to defend from aging. So the wine infused products or wine derivative products, a lot of the polyphenols that allow for the vitamins and nutrients that we need for the skin were incredible. And as a closing comment, Pinot Noirs were excellent. And for those of you who haven't heard me say it before, if you're going to drink wine, drink Pinot Noirs, because of the polyphenols. It is the best and healthiest for your skin. So we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the social environment and the language. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need, from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Well, thanks for joining us again. I'm Patty Schmucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. This is a little unusual for me. Normally I have a guest to bounce back and forth with, but I was so excited about having the opportunity to go to South America, to meet some amazing people, both from the United States as well as from all corners of the earth that were coming in as buyers for this event organized by Pro Chile to help Chilean companies be able to connect and do commerce with businesses all over the world. So had a great time there. But when I think about our segment that we call Beauty That's Sold Deep, I wanted to talk a little bit about the experience that I had around language during an international adventure and sort of the social elements of the culture. So first of all, as a disclaimer, I am a typical American. I speak one language, which is really embarrassing, quite honestly. I was born in Madrid, Spain. Both my parents are Puerto Rican. I should speak Spanish. I loved being in that environment because I could begin to see it coming back, and so I think that in my future is a commitment to get immersed in a program, and any of my friends who are listening to this that want to help me by being a regular speaker of Spanish to me, I'm welcoming that because I want to make at least Spanish a second language. Most of the people that came, there were many that spoke only, like me, one language, but there were many who spoke not only two languages, but multiple languages, and I'm just in awe of people like that. The striking thing was that Spanish, spoken by many, have many dialects. So not only do you have slang or Castilian, which is, a Spanish version of it. There was, of course, the Mexican version of it, people from Chile, but there's people from Peru and all sorts of different Latin American countries across the world. And it was interesting to watch the dialogue between people from different dialects of Spanish, because while they could carry on a conversation, there would be points in the conversation in which a word would stump one or the other of them, and they would have to stop and ask what that meant. And being someone who has a little bit of understanding of the language, being able to watch that exchange take place was very interesting, because I got an understanding from both languages or both dialects what those various different words meant. I felt like one of the results of having more and more of these kinds of exchange with larger groups is that there will be a new Spanish language that begins to develop, a Spanish language that is spoken and can be utilized and travel among all of the different Latin countries. And so it was just really interesting to sort of watch those types of things. There was a lot of social signals of people who travel a lot as compared to, there was one person who was traveling with us that this was one of the first times they had really ever traveled outside of the United States, and they were scared to death. Everything was frightening to them. And in contrast, other people who were fluent travelers who had done this regularly were brave and excited and willing to go out and experience all sorts of different things. And it was just very interesting to watch sort of the dynamics of all of that. It's also interesting to watch experienced travelers and the way that they handled food. Food can be very challenging in different parts of the world if you are very set in your ways with regards to what you will or will not eat. And so that can be very interesting to sort of watch and see people's reactions. I love experimenting with new foods and tasting new flavors, so it's very easy to be able to do that. Of course, food and language connect cultures. And so as cultures change and different influences come in, the language obviously modifies, the foods modify. And Chile is a part of the world that was originally inhabited by native Indians, and then they were invaded by first the Aztec Indians, and then second the Spanish conquistadors. And later on there were more and more European travelers that came to the region, and particularly the Germans, and each one of these cultures have left their mark in the food, in the language, in the arts that take place in that particular part of the world. I had an awesome opportunity to do the hop on and hop off with a new friend that I met, Monica Vega Valles from Miami, who works for Miami's Children's Hospital, and her and I took an opportunity to connect, and we spent the day exploring and going to the Chilean museums and just walking around and having a wonderful time learning more about that market. One of the social pieces that I found really fascinating was the young people, and walking around the city and seeing the way people are interacting with one another. There's a lot of outward expression of emotions and affection, a lot of romance, young couples hugging and kissing, very, very common. It seemed to me, in talking with taxi drivers and restaurant people and anybody that we could, people work hard. They have to. The economy is one. The political situation is one where they have to work hard, many of them 2 and 3 jobs to be able to make ends meet. But the teens really got my attention, because I was one of the stays I had, looked over an area where there was a park, but a couple of very large buildings, and I noticed that there were these clusters of young people, teenagers, that were practicing like what will look like choreographed dances. And at first I thought, well, gosh, that's like a cheerleading group or, some kind of group practicing for an event. And so I decided to take a walk in that area. And what I discovered in this park that would probably be, a fourth of the size of Central Park in New York, but all over this park, there were these groups of 5 to 10 teenagers who had a boombox or a radio or something that was sitting on the floor, and they were dancing and choreographing music to choreographing dance moves to this various different music. And I asked all sorts of different people, and the storylines as to why exactly that was going on was different. The most prominent was an influence of Korean hip hop, that it's all a craze and that the kids are all about it, and they are, it's one of the ways that they see the ability to be able to break out of that market and poverty and things like that. Recently, Prince Harry was in Chile last year, and evidently he broke out in dance with some kids who were in a mental hospital, whether that may have some influence, but it's deep in the culture. There's another great YouTube video, if you haven't seen it, where there's a young man that goes to see his mother's grave site, and he breaks out in dance. It's more of a Chilean traditional dance, but he breaks out in honor of his mother. So the social aspects and the way that the cultures live is so fascinating to me, and one of the reasons why I absolutely love to travel. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about why this is important to American-made beauty. Stay with us.
Here's the thing about beauty. it's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
We're wrapping up with a recap on why travel to international countries and learning about innovative products and ingredients contribute to global commerce, and why I think this is really important to my company. You know, travel allows us to understand other parts of the world and how we're seen by other people in the world. I think that's one of the things that strikes me as being interesting to me as an American. Here in America, when we turn on the TV and we listen to the news, or we go, we have the news that's being fed to us, spoon-fed to us on our devices, it's interesting how isolating it is. The topics are always about what's happening here in this country, and not much anywhere else, unless it impacts us, unless it has some direct correlation to us. In contrast, as I travel the world, when I turn on the television, my feed begins to change as well. BBC becomes a very dominant force, as well as other foreign news agency, and I'm struck by how global the news reporting is. It talks about the weather that's happening all over the world. It talks about political situations and economic situations and cultural situations that are in all sorts of regions of the world. And so I really find that to be fascinating, to be able to see a more global perspective of what's happening in the world. But also the conversations that I'm able to have with people who are traveling alongside of me. You know, the person sitting next to me on the airplane, which sometimes can be a 4 to 10 hour flight. And so you begin to strike up a conversation. This particular trip, one of the things that I observed was how often the question came up about, how are you feeling about your government? And you can always tell that question and the way that it's framed as to whether or not they're feeling particularly excited about it or not. And, of course, I was struck by how often it was a concern for us in terms of what's really going on. I had the good fortune of being able to listen just before I left on this trip to Tony Blair. He was the guest speaker at the LA Chamber of Commerce kickoff week for World Trade Week. And Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister of British Columbia, was there, or Britain was there, not British Columbia, Britain. And he said something that I thought was very interesting and more of the reason why I am so committed to what we're doing, and that is that the exchange of commerce leads to prosperity. That the more that we can open up and have the opportunity to fairly exchange ideas and innovation, we have prosperity. And the history has said that over and over again. And so being able to have an opportunity to be able to be a part of smoothing that pathway and allowing for international commerce to take place. It would be lovely if we were in a situation where we could isolate ourselves and only worry about ourselves as a country, but it's not realistic. We live in a world that is interconnected. Air, water, everything that we do is connected. So commerce across borders are extremely important. And foreigners and strangers are responding not only to the leadership in our government, which I find very interesting. They're watching every move and they're reacting to every move, but they're also reacting to our reaction as a nation to the leadership that we've now appointed. And I think that this, more than any other time before, is an excellent opportunity for those of us in business to be able to demonstrate why we as a country are the inspiration and the envy of the world. Historically, we have as a nation had shared values that allow for us to be able to produce goods, innovations, business, education, all sorts of different things that stand out. We have a sense of purpose, and our stories are inspirational. And as a result of in the past, our stable political environment, we have been a superpower within the global market that creates stability. Currently, in the climate that we're living in, the absence of that political stability is causing rippling effects all over the world. I don't know about you, but I have, and I've mentioned this several times this year, been exhausted by the emotional roller coaster that this unstable political environment is causing. And I couldn't really put my finger on it as to why I was feeling such a high level of anxiety until I listened to a recent TED Talk in which they talk about this idea that when we find ourselves in a position of danger, our body has a natural response to either fight or flight. And in that process, the body is actually engineered in such a way that the hormones and the dilation of your pupils, the expansion of your veins, all sorts of physical things take place in the body that allow you to prepare to either fight or fly, and essentially run. When we experience danger, those mechanisms are designed in our body so that it will benefit us. But if we are constantly, day in and day out, in a position of feeling threatened, then all of a sudden that begins to wear on us, and our immune systems and our emotional stability are affected by this constant, day in and day out feeling of being threatened. And so this is the opportunity, I think, and travel for me is really important because it allows us to be a visible voice that's different than the leadership that we now have that's representing us, for other people to be able to see that we still have those shared values. And those shared values are one of integrity, quality, innovation, respect for other people, taking care that we have a willingness to be able to support those who may not be inclined to be able to take care of themselves. Those are all values that this country has been built on, and that it's the shared values that are inspirational stories for people all over the world. So American Made Beauty is committed to helping brands in the United States know how to effectively reach customers both domestically and internationally. But we are also committed to helping the development of commerce worldwide, because it is in the development of worldwide commerce that globally we have prosperity. And in the development of commerce and the exchange of relationships that can be based on monetary comes friendships and understanding and the appreciation of the fact that all over the world people get up, they go to work, they raise their children, they want to live a good quality life. Those are all shared values that we have, and the more that we get to know one another, the more that we have the opportunity to learn that. I had a wonderful time in Chile. Thank you again, ProChile, for an excellent opportunity, a well-done program, and I look forward to many other opportunities to experience other parts of the world. Come back next week to see us. We'll have Sita Thomas, Clothing That Inspires Wellness, will be with us next week. Thanks for listening to Radio AMB, where we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need, from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Obstacle racing. You know you want to try it. Well, try Reebok's Spartan Race, the global leader in obstacle racing. With 4 different race levels, their goal is to get you up off the couch and throw you into the mud and on the trails to give you the adrenaline rush of your life. Obstacle courses are designed to test your resilience, strength, stamina, quick decision-making skills, and give you the ability to laugh in the face of adversity. Visit HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on Spartan Race.
HealthyLife.net, the Positive Radio Network.